Hey guys, how are you today? I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are having a good day. I just want to review the finals of Belgrade and Barcelona. Um, First, yeah, we'll go do the Barcelona one first. I just want to say, in the final, I just felt like the match was just amazing. It was really high quality. And I just felt like Tsitsipas played the best match of his life, of his career. He was on fire. He was playing at an extreme level. I felt like Nadal's getting to sort of 80, 85% of his best level, probably let's say 75 to 80%. And that's sort of quite a high level for Nadal, considering how good he is on clay. And then Tsitsipas, the best match of his life. Tsitsipas got up 3-1 on a couple of sets. And then I just felt like Nadal. Yeah, I just felt like Nadal, what he does, like he makes it like if Tsitsipas is in control of the point, right? He's hitting one, two, three, four, five shots, and then they just keep coming back, and Tsitsipas has to win the point over and over again until he eventually hits it. He has to constantly be hitting the ball hard next to the lines and then numerous of times to get past Nadal to end it, and he has to keep doing it again and again and again and again for hours. That's what Nadal's asking him to do. Also, one part of it is getting past his defense and Nadal making him hit the one more shot. The second is because it's a slow court on clay. If he doesn't hit the ball as hard as he can, close to the line, then Nadal's now going to have time to hit forehands and control the point. And once Nadal repeats forehand after another forehand, getting a shorter and shorter ball, eventually he's going to get the ball past the defense of Tsitsipas, even Djokovic or anyone's defense. No one can stand up to that. And then Tsitsipas is known to be one of the best defenders anyway. So to stop that, to get the ball through the court where Nadal can't run around his forehand, can't hit two, three, four, five forehands in a row, and then Tsitsipas has to get the ball through the court really fast, which involves hammering the ball at an extreme high rate of power and close to the lines and keeping that up. And then the next thing, you've got to finish the point. And then at any time, Nadal can turn defense into offense. And then if he does that, he'll control the point with his forehand again. And again, Tsitsipas doesn't have the ability to defend against that. So it causes a situation when you have to constantly hammer the ball at maximum power close to the lines and keep it up for hours. And the risk of an error is huge because number one, you're hitting it as hard as you can. And number two, it's near the lines. So not much can go wrong. And then by just achieving that for hours, you're just in an equal battle with Nadal. And like I said, even if you stop him hitting forehand, he's still going to make you do it two, three, four, five times just to get 1 point. And then you're going to have to keep it up for hours to win many points. And then even when Nadal's at defense, at any time he can get a ball back deep, topspin, get back in a 50-50 rally and start hitting forehand. So you have to constantly be on it, hammering those shots, maximum power on the lines. Nadal can also turn it around by hitting shots on the run. And then the advantage on your serve, if you Nadal's constantly making him rally as well just to hold serve, and constantly having to hit high risk shots, power near the line just to hold serve. But he kept doing it. He kept producing it. He did it for hours. It was an extreme high level. And then on top of that, what Nadal's making him do for hours is getting topspin and having the balls high up on the one-handed backhand. That's tiring to constantly have to face balls high up around your shoulder, neck region, and then having to try to find a way to create power off those shots. If not, Nadal will hit forehands on the following shot and dominate you with repetitive forehands, but you can't even allow that, right? So you're in a position where you constantly have to generate power. It has to be mostly near the line. You have to keep it up for hours, and you need to find a way to generate power against the constant barrage of the topspin just jumping up at you. And you can't be tired of that. You need to take Nadal's going to just repeatedly do it over and over and over again, and you're just going to have to deal with the topspin all day. And you can't just hit a short ball and then let him hit a forehand the following ball. You need to at least to be up, even if not hit a win, you need to get it deep. And then constantly getting it deep, constantly have to generate power from the neck shoulder region, and to have to do that for hours, it's very difficult. And then to constantly have to hammer the ball at your maximum power near the lines. And when it's so close to the line at that much power, like I said, huge risk of error, but you need to keep that up. Huge power, huge near the line, but never let it slip over the line. And to have that much control when you're hitting it with that much power near the line, and not being able to have many unforced errors where it slips over the line and goes out, and to keep it up for hours. But Tsitsipas did all of that. And Nadal played, like I said, close to his best level, had the defense where he was hitting 3, 4, 5 shots, making Tsitsipas hit that many shots near the line to win it. He also was, whenever he could, turning defense into offense and looking to get the ball constantly high up on the one-handed backhand and hit those repetitive forehands again, and just to be constantly battling, fighting, running down every ball, looking to hit forehands, and then just hammering one after the other, constantly getting the ball high up on Tsitsipas's backhand and saying, when is Tsitsipas going to break down against this? But he never did. Tsitsipas just said, I'm going to find a way to get these high balls deep for the most part. I'm going to hammer 1, 2, 3 shots at huge power until I get through you, and I'm going to do it over and over again for hours. And I'm going to have so much control when I'm hitting it that hard near the line. They're mostly going to be in, and you're going to ask me to keep it up. I'm going to deliver. You're going to hit the ball high on my one hand backhand. I'm going to find a way to get it deep and not let you get a short ball or forehand. Those very difficult shots, I'm going to continue to come up. So Nadal kept asking. He kept being able to do it. Nadal kept saying, I don't care how many good shots you had. I'm going to still ask you 3, 4, 5 powerful shots near the line just to win 1 point, and you're going to have to do it every point. Nadal kept asking the question. Tsitsipas kept doing it. Nadal kept putting the topspin high up. Tsitsipas kept finding a way to get it deep. Nadal kept saying, whenever you're not hitting the ball really hard, really close to the line, then I'm going to have time to set up forehands, and I'm going to control you with the forehand, and you're not good enough at defense and turning defense into offense, so you're just going to be in a bad situation. So I'm doing that whenever I have a chance. So again, you have to hammer the ball full speed next to the line to stop me doing that, and you're going to have to do it for 3, 4, 5 shots to end the point. But Tsitsipas does all that, and he responds, and he just plays a game like serving to the maximum level, extreme power near the lines, and you usually think beating Nadal, like Djokovic can match him with consistency, but doesn't have the power like when Nadal has time to set up with the forehand on clay, right? Djokovic can't really get through his defense and to stop him setting up to hit all these forehands in a row. And then you think guys like Rublev and Thiem have power to be consistent in the rallies, but power to be consistent, but also powerful. So they're not saying I'm rallying with you, but you've got more power than me, Nadal. No, I have power to consistently hit through the court, which is taking your time away to hit forehands, and eventually the barrage of power is going to eventually get through your defense. This type of style, Robin Sutherland, but you think like Tsitsipas is attacking shortening the point against Nadal, maybe on a fast court, right? Maybe he can do it, but you wouldn't think like on a clay court consistently, he's going to be able to just go for hours hitting powerful shots through the court, taking Nadal's time to hit forehands, hitting 3, 4, 5 shots to get past the defense when he's not really like the kind of rally with power, more like a Rublev or a Thiem. He's a more like a Federer type attack and a shorten the point. So what he would be asked to beat Nadal on clay, to constantly have to hit with the power near the line for 3, 4, 5 shots and do it for hours, considering he's not more of a rally guy like a Rublev or a Thiem, You know he has the power to do it, but you wouldn't think he'd have the consistency to do that for that many hours. But he actually did. But in the end, after doing it for more than 3.5 hours and just being equal, all it took is of just a few um, times where he could play well, but he couldn't keep up hammering the ball at the maximum power almost right on the line in a situation where they had to keep hitting the lines or near the lines. And if they dropped over the line a few times at the wrong time, that's it, he's lost. Because that's what it takes to beat Nadal. He did it for 3.5 hours. He couldn't play it safe. He had to hammer it with max speed, had to hammer it near the lines. But eventually, having to keep up that kind of accuracy for 3.5 hours with that kind of power, that kind of close to the line, eventually he got to the point where he couldn't do it anymore. And a few of those balls slipped over the line. And he had to continue to go for the low percentage type of shots because if he said, I'm not going to take as much risk, I'll be more safe, then Nadal would dictate with the forehand. So he had to do it, maximum power on the line, 3, 4, 5 shots constantly. He did do it for 3.5 hours, but eventually the consistency ran out. And that's not bad by Tsitsipas because to say you're going to hammer the ball close to the line, that's a very risky shot. And to do it for 3.5 hours with relatively consistency and almost beat Nadal, that's amazing for Tsitsipas. But like I said, eventually after 3.5 hours, all it took is a few of those shots where Tsitsipas is hammering at max speed near the line, dropped over the line and went out because they're high risk shots. And he'd been doing it for 3.5 hours, but he's human, right? So a few of those just went out at the wrong time. And right when so that cost him a few unforced errors, sort of 5-all game, going through to this Nadal up 6-5. Nadal hit a few winners and a few good shots at that time, and Nadal's few winners plus Tsitsipas few errors, and Nadal's got the third set 7-5, and that's it. It's all over. But that's all it takes. Tsitsipas had to hammer the ball with all his power near the line and keep it up for 3.5 hours, and he did. And then after 3.5 hours, it's not like he fell apart. It's just inevitable. You won't be able to just hit the ball that hard, that close to the line, and be forced to do that to win. Just to keep that up for 3.5 hours is amazing. But eventually, all we're doing is talking about a few balls when you need to hit the ball extremely hard on the line, eventually missing. That's all we're talking about. And then that happened, and Nadal hit a few winners and a few good shots at the same time. It's over 7-5 to Nadal. That shows how great Tsitsipas was to be able to hammer the ball as hard as he can near the line and keep it up for 3.5 hours. It also shows that even if you've kept it up for 3.5 hours, if you just miss those a few times, which is very easy to do, hitting it as hard as you can near the line, to just miss a few after them all mostly landing in for 3.5 hours. That's all it took for Tsitsipas to lose at the end because there was a few points given away. Nadal gets a few points of good shots, and it's over 7-5 to Nadal. So that shows how hard it would be to beat Nadal in best of 5 at the French Open. Because even if Nadal was able to Tsitsipas to sneak that set, the third set, and be up 2-1, he would have to continue to do it for 1 more hour of hammering as hard as he can on the line and keep it up consistently for even 1 more hour more than he did to get it in 4. And then if Nadal was just, because they're so close, he could do that, but Nadal could still be better. And then we're in a fifth set, then he's got to do it for an additional hour after that. But he'd already ran out. He's already like, I mean, come on. I've hit the ball as hard as I can near the line and kept it up for 3.5 hours. And I've missed 3 shots, and now it's over. But then to say, well, 1 to 2 more hours, he'd have to do that. That shows what it takes to beat Nadal at the French Open. But Tsitsipas played amazingly, but he had to hit the ball as hard as he can on the line. He had to keep it up, and he couldn't have any errors. And he only had a few errors at the end, and that cost him the match. But if he could have done it for another 15 minutes of hammering the ball on the lines, near the lines at full power without errors, which is pushing it out to almost 4 hours of doing that, then he possibly could have won. But because he did it for 3.5 hours, and at the end of that, just a few times when he's hitting it as hard as he can near the lines, they missed, it's over. And that's the fine line, what it takes to beat Nadal. But for Tsitsipas to say he could hit the ball that hard, that close to the line for so long, and he didn't even fall off at the end of the fifth set. It was just a few shots that missed. But you can't even afford that against Nadal, so then it's over just that alone. But the fact is that's all he gave Nadal, and the rest of the time he was hammering the ball as hard as he can near the lines. It's just an amazing level from Tsitsipas, but it's also amazing for Nadal, and it shows what's going to take to beat the guy. And as far as Nadal's game going forward, like I said, he came into this situation where in 2020 he had 6.5 months off, played 4 tournaments, then went back into another, just as he's warming back into it, another period of 5 months of one tournament, right? For that's Nadal, what I'm saying, right? And then his first tournament back in out of all that time off, he needs time to get back into it. So he wasn't at his best in Monte Carlo, Nadal, right? But now he's starting to find his best, but he's still not there yet. He's still got steps to get better in Madrid and Rome, and then the French Open, and then the second week at the French Open more specifically. So he's not there yet, but even just 75%, 80% of the way there, look what it took from Tsitsipas to beat him, and it's still not even enough. So that shows you how hard it's going to be able to beat him. And you'll definitely need extreme intense power, and you'll be able to have to hit it at that power consistently near the lines for hours. And you can't even say, well, I've done it for 3.5 hours. Hitting the ball at that much power and that much force, that much close to the line, you can't say 3.5 hours is enough. Because if a few of those highly risky shots just miss the line, it's over. And that's what happened to Tsitsipas. But to hit it that hard, that close to the line, and even good defense for 3.5 hours, and dealing with Nadal's topspin, that's another thing for hours, and hitting those, having to hit those deep. Tsitsipas did an amazing job, but I don't know how he was able to be hitting the ball so hard, so close to the line, and so consistently for 3.5 hours. But then to be able to say, even though you've done that, if 3 of your powerful shots hit really close to the line and maximum power, just having to miss, it's over. And I think that's demoralizing for Nadal's opponents going forward. But Tsitsipas had the match of his life, and in any other circumstance, he would win. Against Djokovic or Federer on any surface, he would win. Against Nadal, not on clay, he would win. But that combination of Nadal on clay meant 3.5 hours of hammering the ball as hard as he can near the line wasn't enough. And if 3 more future shots of hitting the ball that hard, that close to the line miss, it's over. And that's what happened here. Because beating Nadal on clay is very, very difficult. But Tsitsipas still played the best match of his life and just missed a few shots of hitting the ball as hard as he can near the line, just happened to miss eventually after 3.5 hours, and that's it. He's lost. But still, it's an amazing job for Stefanos Tsitsipas. For Nadal, it's to see how good he is on clay. And I would say one thing you would deal with in comparison at the French Open is with Nadal, right? Is firstly, you would have to keep it up longer to beat him in 5 sets. Secondly, at the French Open, even with these slower balls, the ball bounces higher than Barcelona. So the top spin's going to be more difficult to deal with. Secondly, with these slower balls, even with the warmer weather, it's going to be slower than Barcelona. So this attacking serve game, Tsitsipas would get less out of his serve, more rallies on his service games, and then taking Nadal's time away would be harder, so he'd have to hit it even more harder, more close to the line. And then the back area from the baseline to the back area where the linesman is, where Nadal likes to stand back far, in the French Open there's more space. So even if the balls are traveling at the same speed, because Nadal's even further back there, it'll lose even more pace. So then Nadal's going to now have more time. which means you're going to have to hit it even harder to get it further back at the same speed. And then when you add that to the fact the court will be slower because the balls will be slower, means you'll probably even have to hit it 5 to 7 kilometers, 4 miles, maybe even more than what he's getting here. And then in addition, you have to do it for 5 sets, not best of 3. So very difficult. And then, like I said, you would have to do it for at least 1 more hour than what Tsitsipas did, but he couldn't even do it for what he needed to do to win the best of 3, because because all it took is, like I said, that fine line of hitting the ball as hard as you can near the lines. You can't even have 3 shots missing that just go over the line and go out, because then Nadal hits a few winners and then it's gone. And that's what happened today. So, yeah, looking good for Nadal. Tsitsipas, I don't know if he's going to be demoralized, playing the best match of his career and still losing. But Nadal takes this final and wins Barcelona. Yeah, 6-4, 6-7, 7-5, and really, even when Tsitsipas is his best, 3-1 in both the first and second sets. He just battles and plays at a high level and comes back at him. And then anytime Tsitsipas misses a shot, he's back. He's at that high level constantly. Pressure, asking Tsitsipas to be amazing all the time. If not, he comes back from the 3-1. And then, like I said, at the end of the match, pushing Tsitsipas all the way, making him at that extreme high level and saying, like, if you miss a few shots, it's over. And that's what happened from 5-all to 7-5. But Tsitsipas had kept up hitting the ball as hard as he can on the line and had to keep hitting the ball with all his power near the line for even more time than that. But because a few of those shots missed, he lost, like I said. So Nadal wins it and fights from 3-1 down in 2 sets. First 2 and makes them close, wins one and not the other. And then the others, he just fights all the way to the end and he's too good right at the end. So Nadal's your Barcelona 2021 champion. So now let's move on to Belgrade. So what we saw at the Serbia Open, the final, Matteo Berrettini beat Karatsev. Like what I said in the semi-final, Karatsev was battling and rallying with Djokovic, but Karatsev just had more power to get through that court, right? Then than Djokovic. So it was both had good court speed, good defense, consistency of shot on the rally. But Karatsev just had more power on his rally shots to get through the court, to get through Djokovic's defense. Djokovic doesn't really have enough power to finish points on a clay court. And that extra power on the consistent rally shot caused Djokovic to go for too much, try drop shots, try all these things to win points, and it just backfired. But Karatsev could consistently hit the ball through Djokovic's defense in a much better way, and then Djokovic ends up going for too much, and that's sort of the thing there. But in the final, Karatsev against Berrettini, Karatsev wasn't in the position where he's playing against another rallier, and he had more power to finish the point. On this type of a situation, Berrettini has more power to finish the point, and even a bigger serve. So he doesn't know what to do because he's saying, I'm just going to rally like with Djokovic and have more power to finish the point. But now Berrettini's got more power than him and he's overpowered and he's running all over the place. Berrettini has a better serve to start the point. So then Berrettini, Berrettini wins the first set, but he finds a way to move Berrettini around in the second set a bit more, and he's not really good at movement or defense, so then that wins that. And then they both battled away to the end of the third set, but Karatsev constantly struggling with the fact that Berrettini has more power and is controlling more points. When against Djokovic, he was just getting in rallies and being the rallier with more power on the shot, By this time, he's constantly scrambling to fight it. And then eventually, in the pressure of the tiebreak, his game goes off a bit. He can't continue to run and fight and scramble the point. He makes some errors. Berrettini makes some winners, and Berrettini gets more free points on the serve in the pressure moment and plays great. But then Karatsev just is too tired to keep running, makes errors and ends the point. And then so Berrettini's overpowering him, and Karatsev doesn't know what to do. He's too tired to run, has to go for too much, makes errors, hits it out, and then Berrettini's just continuing to overpower him, continuing to get free points on the serve like Karatsev isn't, and Karatsev is just too exhausted to continue to run. And his only way is for him to go for too much, which creates errors, which gives even more points away. And then we get the 7-0, 7 points to 0 tiebreak to Berrettini. So Berrettini is your 2021 Serbia Open final champion, and Nadal's the champion over there in Barcelona. I described what happened in both of the finals. That's what my video was about. Um, so now going forward, we have a situation where Djokovic is in trouble. He's really not looking good on the clay. He's had a loss to Dan Evans in Monte Carlo, in Barcelona to Karatsev. It's guys who can seem to have good defense, but are pushing him around, and he doesn't have the ability to get through the court. So I don't know how he's going to create more strength in the future. And then when he can't end the point, he's just bossed around. He has to go for too much, try drop shots, and then there's errors. So he's either bossed around or getting errors, and there's just no real answer. He's not getting much out of his serve on clay. It's just a bad situation for Djokovic. I don't know what he'll do going forward. Maybe hit the gym. Maybe there's still time between now and the French Open. But for Nadal, I mean, when you're out for 6.5 months and you're just building back with 4 tournaments, and then you go into another period of 5 months with one tournament, the Australian Open, you're not going to be great. And he wasn't in Monte Carlo. And even your second tournament back from that break, Barcelona, you're not beat his best. He wasn't, but he was better. So for me, this shows he's just going to click and he's going to win another French Open and a Rome, I would say, and possibly Madrid. Nadal could still get a clay court season like he hasn't had since 2018, where he loses one match. Usually it's at Madrid. Sometimes it's been Rome, but he could still have that clay court season, right? Because it could just be this year that the first loss is at Monte Carlo, because that's when he's coming in to a tournament having played one tournament in the last 5 months. So his game's not ready, and that's where the one loss comes. But after he gets past there, then he just finds form and wins every other tournament. You could see that, and even at such a high level by the next tournament, Madrid, that it doesn't matter that Madrid's at altitude. He's at a so high level he can win anywhere. So you could still see that, and Monte Carlo be the one loss, or you could see him having a bit of trouble with the altitude at Madrid and winning Rome and Roland Garros. I think it's 50-50 which of those two options it'll be, whether it'll be a Rome Roland Garros or a Madrid Rome and Roland Garros. Yeah, but he's looking good, and I'd say he would keep getting better. But can he deal with the altitude in Madrid, or does he have to wait for Rome and the French Open? We'll see. Looking good for him. For Djokovic, looking terrible. Other contenders for the French Open. Thiem said he's in a mental and an emotional crisis. So it's going to be difficult there. He hasn't played, and he's going to be starting out at Madrid, where Nadal's already reached this level. So to give that kind of advantage and be starting out at Madrid, he's going to be back where Nadal was in Monte Carlo, or worse, because at least Nadal trained a month leading up to Monte Carlo, but he's going to be starting from Madrid, many steps behind. So for him to win Roland Garros will be difficult. Tsitsipas, we've seen it, like I said. The court at French Open is going to be harder for him than doing it in best of 5. And if he can't do it here in best of 3, he won't do it in best of 5. Thiem's going to be working his way back. I don't see him getting at his best. Djokovic is looking so far away from a French Open champion. So perhaps Rublev, who beat him in Monte Carlo, he has the ability to hit the ball extremely hard. He has time to set up for his power on clay, and he can hit 3, 4, 5, 7 shots, get past Nadal's defense, and take Nadal's time away in his forehand. But I don't know if Rublev's ready to play at the level for 5 hours at the French Open and beat him in best of five. He has the potential, the sort of game that could cause him trouble. I just don't know if he's ready or there yet. But I think that that's possibly the only opportunity, but I don't think Rublev's there yet. So it's not really looking like Nadal has a challenger, and Nadal's really rounding out into the right kind of level. So that's it for the video today. Uh, Subscribe, guys, and hit that bell notification and the thumbs up. And I'll be back to talk about the future of tennis and where it's heading in a couple of days, Thursday or Friday, most likely Thursday. I'm not going to go over the tournaments this week, but I'll be back to cover Madrid and Rome in the French Open, and I'll even do Federer's return in Geneva and hopefully get an interview with him before that. But subscribe for all these videos and hit your bell notification and thumbs up this video. Bye for now, guys. See you on Thursday or Friday for my next video, but bye for now, guys. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.